They gonna do something to you, bro.
I don't think so. I go on a lot of different moves.
No, I ain't trying to, no disrespect, I'm just saying. I'm
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I said go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
All right, and there you have it. Okay, we all know what happened after this. So let's talk about it. Let's rewind it back. I'm gonna point out some things that I noticed that you may not have noticed, or things that you feel should be a factor, which are not a factor. All right, I'm gonna play it back and pause it. Okay, first and foremost, what did we learn over the last 2 days? Is that one, she is part of this group that agitates and tries to obstruct the federal agents, ICE agents, from doing their job. Okay. All right, what you hear is that she has a built-in horn system that she uses as obviously to agitate the ICE agents. They blow their horns, they play these sirens and things of that nature. All right, so we already know her involvement. We also have video evidence of her where she is pulling up into the scene, the incident location, and then using her vehicle to block the road, impeding and obstructing ICE from doing their job, okay? And we see right here from the video surveillance camera, it looks like the wife gets out the car and then she turns and blocks the roadway, all right? So we have this, you guys. This within itself is a crime, okay? This is a crime. This is obstruction, okay, with the intent, okay? She's not doing a U-turn. She is trying to interfere with their duties and carrying out their investigation. You guys, she's going to jail, okay? Or at best, she's gonna be detained. So with that being said, when they say, what law did you, this is a state violation within itself, okay? Impeding traffic. But when you intentionally are trying to interfere with the investigation or the apprehension of somebody related to the investigation of a federal agency, you guys, that's also a crime as well. She's not doing good on either state or on the federal level. She's in violation, okay, with her behavior. Okay, that violation that she committed here in the roadway is enough for a traffic violation, meaning that if an officer pulls her over, guess what? She's not free to leave, okay? She's not free to leave. When a person of authority gives you a command, you don't, even if you don't know why they're giving it, you are obligated to have to hear them out, okay? Hey, you're under investigation, you're not free to leave. If you leave, you're resisting, and that within itself is against the law as well. You guys, she's wrong across the board. There's no way to articulate anything differently, okay? And I know a lot of people are gonna come on here and say that, okay? I know a lot of people are gonna say, well, she was trying to get away, okay? You had the Philadelphia sheriff, okay? Sheriff Bilal stated that she was only trying to get away. Ma'am, you're not allowed to get away when you're under investigation or when you're being stopped. Why do I say that? Well, in this instance, you have one of the agents, the ICE agents, walking around the car recording. I don't know why he's recording. It's not against the law for him to record using his phone. I don't know why they don't have body cameras. You guys, that's irrelevant, okay? What are you doing? He's now walking around the vehicle.
That's fine, dude.
And he's recording.
Show your face. I'm not mad at you. That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I said go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
She has no respect either for authority. And then now what happens, right? Now what happens? She's making these statements, come get us, go eat some lunch, big boy, right? She's taunting. And granted, as professionals, you need to be above the taunting. I agree 100%. Okay, we can all agree on that. Now what happens next?
Out of the car. Get out of the car.
So much.
She is now,
Out of the car.
Renee is now being ordered to get out the car. Guess what? You need to get out the car. That's a lawful command. Here's the problem I have with this, okay? And I'm just going to just be honest. You guys, there's too many of these EPVs is what I call them, okay? Entitled political vigilantes. That's what this is. Where you want to express how you feel. You want to impede and you want to obstruct and you want to cause chaos, but then you don't want to be held accountable when the cuffs need to go on. You want the responsibility of an adult, but you want the accountability of a child. And that's what we see here play out and unfold. You have the agent walk over to the car, say, get out the car, get out the car. Well, that's a command. At best, you need to not drive off. He goes and reaches for the door handle. That's not unlawful for him to do so. Maybe it could be against a policy violation, maybe. But what do we see? We have an agent trying to get through. They can't get through. She's purposely blocking. She's in violation. He's probably going to detain her. But what we have is an agent giving her a lawful command and she decides to resist. So now people make the moral argument. She should still be alive. She's just trying to get free. Well, guess what? That's against the law. Morally, I understand your argument. Lawfully, it doesn't matter. You can't do it. And unfortunately, this entitlement in this country when you try to tell somebody what they can and cannot do. This reminds me of the Rayshard Brooks situation where people were saying he was just trying to free himself from the police officers. They didn't have to shoot him. Well, Rayshard Brooks beat up the two officers, stole the taser, ran from them, turned around and shot the taser in the direction of the officer, and he got shot. He lost his life behind it. And people's arguments was he was just trying to get free. No, that's not how it works. You were told to stop and you were told that you were under arrest. You need to comply. You guys, that's how rules and laws work. You need to comply. And in this situation, we don't have that. We don't have that. We have a woman that's entitled. And in this moment, she's asked to get out. She refuses. And then instead of being held accountable, she decides she's going to drive off. Now, here's the other issue.
Get out of the car.
The wife. What does the wife say?
Get out of the car.
Drive, Katie, drive. Drive, Katie. I'm locking you up too. Why? You're encouraging. You're encouraging in the obstruction. Drive, hurry up, get away. You can't pick and choose when you want to be an adult and when you want to be a child. It doesn't work like that. So now what's the next issue? The officer walking in front of the car is not a crime. It's not a policy violation. You guys, there's a difference, and I mentioned this in the previous video, when you have an officer who's trying to act like a barrier between you, the road, and him. And he's acting as a stop sign with his gun out, and he's saying to you, if you move this car, you're going to get shot. You guys, you cannot do that as an officer. At best, the officer or the agent was not paying attention. It looks very clear to me that he's lackadaisical. He's just moving around with his hand out recording, which I don't understand why, but he has his reasons. Nonetheless, it's not against the law, nor did he violate his policy for walking around the car recording and walking in front of the vehicle. I hear a lot of people who quote unquote call themselves experts and professionals and former this, former that, saying that law enforcement is not allowed to walk in front of a car. That's a lie. We walk in front of cars all the time. There's always an assumption that you're not going to be ran over. Why would he assume that? She gave no intent of any form of aggression, which is true. I heard someone else mention that. Oh, she wasn't aggressive. She never showed any intent that she was trying to run him over. No, she didn't. So why would the agent assume that she would try to run past him in an attempt to get away, in an attempt to flee? Yes, she was fleeing. Did he know that she was going to do that? No. He wasn't even really paying attention. He never even considered them a threat. Okay? And that's where the agent went wrong, assuming. So he walks across the car. A lot of people think that he needs to be hit and ran over before it's considered a dangerous situation. That's not how the law works. That's not how the law works. Okay? Imminent danger. You have to put the officer in fear of receiving imminent. It has to be imminent, meaning that it's about to happen. It doesn't necessarily have to happen. You guys, we're going to talk about that. The use of force and the use of deadly force and what's required. Let's go ahead and discuss it. Because right here, what happened? he's hit, and he fires 3 shots. What's the other issue though? People are bringing up the tire. They're saying, Nathan, the tire, that she turned the wheel and it wasn't even his direction. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Why is it irrelevant? Because the officer probably, the agent probably doesn't even know that the tires weren't turned in his direction. It doesn't matter whether people want to say he was hit, he was grazed, or he barely moved out the way. Guess what? It doesn't matter. The vehicle was coming in his direction. The question isn't about what you see. The question is what the officer saw, his perspective, you guys. This is the part that you're missing. How did the officer perceive the threat, the actions? Did she intend to run him over? Probably not. Was she trying to get away? Yeah, she probably was just trying to get away. She probably did not mean to hit him. I'm pretty sure of that. But it doesn't matter, because what the officer perceives is what's matter. That's what guides and justifies the officer's actions. If the agent sees a vehicle spinning tires and he hears the noise, he's caught off guard, he's not paying attention, he's recording with his left hand, he sees the vehicle coming towards him, he panics, resorts to his training, he draws his weapon, and as he's aiming, he's grazed, he's hit, barely dodges the vehicle, fires around, goes through the windshield, boom. Where it hit her, we do not know. And from there, like I described, he's holding the phone, his hand is locked out with the gun, his body is twisting to the left, the gun goes off 2 more times, an unintentional double tap of the trigger, which I believe is the strongest, most reliable theory, and it was not intentional. Based off of the sound of how the gun went off, I do not believe those were intentional shots. And from there, you guys, you could see his platform is unstable. He has a loose grip of the gun. His arm is wobbly. The gun goes off. You can tell by his reaction that it does not appear to be intentional, at least the last 2 shots, you guys. But he fired the weapon when the vehicle made contact with him. What does the citizen or the suspect have to bring to the officer, to the agent, for you to use deadly force? They have to have these 3 elements. They need to meet these 3 criteria, okay? They have to have the ability, the opportunity, and the jeopardy. These are the 3 elements needed for an officer to be justified in using lethal force. What does it mean by ability? Does the suspect have the ability to carry out great bodily harm or death, you guys? Those are the 2 stipulations. You're either going to create great bodily harm or death to the officer. We have to make sure that box is checked. So the question is, did she have the ability to do it? You guys, no, she didn't have a weapon in her hand, but she was driving a vehicle that can be used as a weapon. This is a fact. So did she have the ability to carry out great bodily harm? Yes. Okay. You hitting the officer, grazing, or attempting to. Mind you, it doesn't have to happen for an officer to use lethal force. That's where the confusion comes in. I know how you feel morally, it sounds bad, but lawfully it's amazing. Okay. The officer does not have to wait to be shot at, ran over, stabbed before he can use lethal force. And in this case, she has the ability to do it, which is what? Hit him with the vehicle. So next we have opportunity. The question is, did she have the opportunity? Meaning, was she in close enough proximity to carry out great bodily harm or death? Yes, she was in a vehicle and she was close enough to do it, okay? If she was, say, 300 feet away and she's driving at a high rate of speed, the officer has enough time to evade. In this case, one can argue that that's limited, especially if he's caught off guard and not expecting her to do that. So the opportunity is there, you guys. We check that box. Lastly, we have jeopardy, which is the most important piece of this trifecta, meaning, was he in imminent danger of the threat manifesting and being a threat to him for great bodily harm or death? And the answer is yes. Yes. Okay. The imminent danger of a vehicle coming at you at a rate of speed from an approximate distance to where it could still cause great bodily harm was there. Some will argue like he wasn't close enough to get killed by the vehicle. Yeah, maybe, possibly. I agree with that. But the way it's looked at is, would it have caused them great bodily harm? And yes, the agent wouldn't know what type of damage he will receive. He's responding to the threat as it's manifesting itself. He's reacting through his training by drawing his weapon and he's firing a shot. Okay. And so this is how it works. We cannot look at the video and forget that we need to analyze from the perspective of the actual victim. I see a lot of victim blaming in this incident. If it was a woman wearing a dress and she was sexually assaulted, no one would say you shouldn't have had the dress on, right? And so what we see with this incident is that, well, he shouldn't have walked in front of the car. That's not how it works. This job is dangerous. You do a lot of things that's unsafe. It's a dangerous job, okay? Just because he walked across the car, he was in front of the car or passing by, does not give the citizen a right to drive through the individual. It's still not allowed. So again, did she check all the boxes? Did she have the ability and means? Yes, she was in a vehicle. Did she have the opportunity? Yes, she was in close proximity to carry it out. Did she put him in jeopardy? Yes, she did. Did he intentionally put himself in harm's way? No. No, if that's the case, nobody would walk across a vehicle. Officers are not allowed to use themselves as a barrier to stop cars, okay? Because then if the car decides or the driver decides to go forward, you are then forced to have to use deadly force, okay? That is what's not allowed. Here's another thing. You need to also analyze these things based on the senses. As I'm breaking cases down for attorneys or for the court, you know what I'm looking at? I'm looking at what the officer sees, what he hears, what he smells, what he tastes, what he's feeling in that moment. Because all of those things matter when you're analyzing a use of force situation, okay? He's hearing the tire screeching, all right? He's hearing the engine rev. He's looking, he's panicking. He sees a large vehicle coming towards his direction. He can't see the tires from that perspective. He probably wasn't paying attention. In that moment, all he feels is his life in danger. And from there, he reacts by drawing his weapon, firing. And as he's firing, he's struck. And as he struck, his body is twisting. To the left, he's off balance. The gun is in one hand. He's unstable. The grip is loose. His finger's still on the trigger well. He double taps the trigger unintentionally, and that's where those second two shots came from. All right, so now let's look at the policy, because a lot of people are talking about the policy. Let's pull the policy up. Any questions, please put them in the comment section, but let's look at the policy. This is 1-16.200, use of deadly force and prohibited restraint techniques. Okay, this is for federal agents. A, deadly force. Law enforcement and correctional officers of the Department of Justice may use deadly force only when necessary. That is when the officer has reasonable belief that the subject of such force poses an imminent danger of death or seriously physical injury to the officer or another person. There's that language again, okay? Number one, deadly force may not be used solely to prevent escape from a fleeing suspect. All right. This is the key word I want you to look at. Solely. All right. I'm gonna break this down so you guys understand. Solely means it can't be the only reason. Okay. Them getting away, you can't use deadly force simply because someone's trying to flee. That can't be the only reason why. What this means is they're trying to give their agents latitude. All right. Because these scenarios, especially as federal agents, they evolve so quickly. Things change so quickly. You cannot have certain restrictions on them or they won't be able to do their job safely and effectively. So it says, listen, if they're just trying to get away and they pose them with a threat, they're not doing anything else, then guess what? You can't do it. All right. So the question is, was she just trying to get away? Yes, she was. But there's also something else that took place that gives the agent approval to use lethal force. And what is that? You guys, she was using the vehicle in a manner that threatened his life. So if she was just safely fleeing and not in the direction of someone that she could have harmed, guess what? He wouldn't have been justified. But because of the manner in which she was driving, the direction towards him, yeah, the wheels were turned. I get it. She was still too close. All right. From the perception of the officer. So solely no, but if there are additional factors, you guys, yes, it's not against policy for them to shoot at a fleeing suspect. Okay, this is the policy.
Let's be real. Social media